Happy holidays and welcome to FireWatch. I'm your host, Ronald Campbell. As we're all starting to celebrate the holiday season, we're going to be decorating pretty soon. And before we get out all those new decorations, I thought we'd have Assistant Fire Marshal Tim Henshaw with us to talk to us about how to safely decorate our homes for the holidays. Tim, thanks for joining us on FireWatch again.
Thanks for having me here today.
All right, so we've got a table here full of decorations. Before we start with all the lights and candles and whatnot, let's talk a little bit about Christmas trees. There's a variety of different trees folks can choose, from artificial trees to real life trees. Talk to us about the safety features of each, the hazards associated with both as well.
Well, when we're dealing with Christmas trees, as you said, we have artificial trees. This happens to be one. The other one over here is an artificial tree, and they're actually made of a plastic material. But during that process, they're infused with fire-resistant materials, giving the tree a rating, ultimately making it safer from fire danger. It resists flame impingement, and it's less likely to catch on fire.
How could I be certain that the tree that I have has this fire-resistant material on it?
Well, you want to start right back at the store, and each box has a UL FM rating on it, showing you that the tree's been treated and it complies with listed standards.
Okay, and so if I'm looking for a tree and it doesn't have one of those UL or FM standards on it, I should probably avoid that tree.
You should avoid that tree. You could talk with the sales associate and see if they could provide you further specifications. Maybe we've missed it on the box, and any tree manufacturer should be able to provide that for an artificial tree.
And not only that, but you've got these two artificial trees here behind us, and on the table in between the two trees we have a real tree and then an obviously artificial tree. Talk to us a little bit about these two. This small artificial tree, what's the deal with it?
This artificial tree is made of craft material. It isn't treated. Only your standard larger size artificial trees are treated. This is made out of a paper plastic material. It does have plastic ornaments on. It is not labeled or listed. So if you look for a UL or FM logo on there, since it's not plugged in and it's not electrified in any means, there's no listing. So that decoration has not been treated, and therefore, you know, if a fire was around that tree, it could be consumed. The real tree to the right, as we know with real trees, is it's very, very important to keep them wet. As long as they're living and green, the fire danger greatly goes down. It's when they become dry, unkept, start to brown a little bit, they do cause a fire hazard. Once again, a real tree is not listed because it's a natural product. So you won't see those UL or FM designations on a real tree or at a Christmas tree lot.
So if I'm at a Christmas tree lot looking to get a real life Christmas tree, what are some things that I should look for? You mentioned that it should be fresh. How can I check to make sure that the tree that I'm getting is as fresh as possible?
When you stop by the local tree lot, talk to the sales associate and say, hey, where are these trees cut down? About how long ago was it? Typically they start cutting trees in the middle to late November and start importing trees. Most of the trees here that you see alongside the road were raised in North Carolina and cut down for consumption here, so the trees are really, really fresh, only a few days old by the time they get out there. Turn the tree over, take a look at the stump and see how it's been cut. Take a look at the color of the wood, if it's still lighter wood and it hasn't been darkened out, and then run your hand down the branches and see if any of the needles fall off, and that'll give you a real good indication of how fresh that tree is.
Okay, and as far as, you know, with artificial trees, once you put the tree up, you pretty much just sort of set it and forget it. With a live Christmas tree, what are some things folks need to do ongoing maintenance-wise for that tree? Ongoing
maintenance, what you want to do is when you bring that tree home, if it wasn't just cut when you were at the tree lot, go ahead and cut just a little bit more off the bottom one more time. Put it down in water, and you need to do the first day, check the water twice, in the morning and the afternoon, because you're going to see it's going to drink a lot those first few days, and you're going to want to keep feeding it water, and the absorption rate will slow as Christmas nears, but you've got to keep that tree wet or there's a risk that it'll dry out.
Now let's talk about the potential hazards associated not just with real Christmas trees, but artificial Christmas trees as well. We know that with artificial trees, they're at least treated with the flame-resistant material, so that will slow the spread of flame should something happen with one of those. When we think about a real Christmas tree, what are some of the hazards that are associated with those that, if they're not maintained properly, could happen in your home?
If they're not maintained properly, any kind of heat source, if you get it too close to a candle, an open flame, or even if you have an issue with a light socket and you get spark, any of those things could ignite a real tree that's been dried out.
And when we think about a Christmas tree fire, they burn pretty quickly, is that correct?
Yeah, within a matter of seconds. I know it's hard for us to talk about, how many seconds, but the fire is so quick, the room is unlivable in just a handful of seconds, and so therefore you don't ever want to put any kind of flame to a tree or have a spark that could cause a fire, because the room would go to unlivable temperature-wise, and also the smoke would be so great that you wouldn't be able to breathe in the room.
Now, even with all that said, the hazards that could be associated with a real Christmas tree, the hazards associated with an artificial tree, as long as you maintain that tree properly and take care of it, use approved lighting, don't use open flames around it, what is your honest opinion, artificial tree versus real tree? Is it a matter of preference?
It's a matter of preference. A lot of folks will go with the artificial tree because it's easy. You can put it in your attic, bring it down, reuse it over and over again. The real trees, they add a nice aroma to your house. That pine scent is a beautiful thing. But like you said, as long as they're maintained in accordance with, safeguards, both of the trees are safe and will get you through the holidays and make it a wonderful experience.
And now once the holiday season is over, when we talk about getting rid of trees, you talk about with an artificial tree, you just take it back to the attic. How should we dispose of a real Christmas tree?
Real Christmas trees are real easy to dispose of here in the city of Raleigh. Solid Waste Services, they have extra trucks on the road. You place your tree out by the curb beside your other yard waste, and they'll pick it up and take it off your hands for free.
It's fantastic. Well, I know that last January, at the end of the holiday season, we actually got a couple of real Christmas trees and did a little experiment just to see how fast a Christmas tree could burn in the event that it was exposed to a heat source. And so what we'll do now is go ahead and take a look at that video just to show folks just how quickly a real Christmas tree can burn and the hazards associated with that.
Yeah, and I'd like to follow up with one other comment, Ron. One of those trees that you're actually burning is mine, so I can verify when it was cut, how long it was in the house, how it was maintained, and you can still see even a well-maintained tree at some point in time dries out and it needs to be removed from the home.
My mom is my hero. She goes into places people want to get away from. She makes everyone safe. But the best thing she can do is come home.
The U.S. Fire Administration reminds you to protect yourself and firefighters. Have smoke alarms on every level and near sleeping areas. Test them monthly. Change batteries as instructed. Install sprinklers. Do your part to get out before firefighters have to come in.
It's horrible.
Hey, yo, that was not my fault. That was his fault.
His fault? The running back ran right past you.
We are gonna rock this.
Okay, guys, you ready for the big game?
Dad, did you do the laundry?
Yeah, I used the fabric softener. Let's go.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
The forest is a magical place for your whole family, with animals and fun all around. So discover the forest and explore all the wonder that's there. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to FireWatch. We're joined today by Assistant Fire Marshal Tim Henshaw talking to us about holiday decorations. So Tim, now we've talked about Christmas trees for a little bit. Let's talk about lighting. It's just not the holiday season without lights all over our homes, on decorations. Talk to us about the different kinds of lighting and some of the hazards that could be associated with that.
Well, today, as you're well aware, in the marketplace there are many different sized bulbs, shapes, and types. We brought a few in so everybody could compare. We have the miniature lights. These small bulbs are rather cool and make a nice light for a tree inside for artificial and real. We also brought some of the larger bulbs here today. These large bulbs get very, very hot, and typically we'd prefer, even though they say indoor, outdoor, we'd prefer that use only be outdoor. And then we also brought along with us today new LED type lights. LEDs are all over in the marketplace because they're energy efficient. These are Energy Stars, and also they burn at a much cooler rate.
You're talking about the fact that the light bulbs have different temperatures. Why is that so important?
Well, as you can see here from our display, we like to decorate with all kinds of materials, from trees to tablecloth to this artificial type snow. And each of those materials has a different ignition temperature. And these light bulbs get very, very hot in some cases, could melt and start a fire.
Even in the short time that we had the large light bulbs plugged in, it was coming into contact with the tablecloth and was starting to melt it even in just a short period of time here. How important, I guess, when you're looking for lighting, and a lot of times it'll say for indoor use, for outdoor use, or for both. A lot of times we try to hedge a little bit. Maybe we use those outdoor bulbs indoors or vice versa. Why should we not do that?
Well, because they will get hot enough to melt things. And outside, think about the difference in temperature between indoors and outside. Say you keep your house at 70 degrees, now you have this light bulb. There isn't anything to cool it, so it's going to be as hot as it possibly can be. Outside, when the snow starts to fall and the temperatures drop to 30, that light bulb, those cool temperatures will cool it, and it'll remain a little bit cooler outside than it will inside.
So I guess from a safest standpoint, we're talking these LED bulbs are probably our safest bet.
Yeah, unbelievable difference. The new generation of LED bulbs are really, really cool compared to some of these older style, larger light bulbs.
Yeah, I think that using like a thermal temperature gun, we've looked at these light bulbs before, and we know that the LED bulbs come in at about 76, 77 degrees, which even with all these other decorations around, that's not hot enough to combust, correct?
Yeah, it's almost just above the ambient temperature of the room, wherein some of our larger bulbs are well exceeding 100 degrees.
Yeah, we looked at some of these larger red bulbs, and they were getting close to 140, 150 degrees. If we've got a light bulb that's that hot, how dangerous is that exactly?
That's really dangerous. You know, it will start to melt plastic, as we'd indicated here on the table. Some of these lower ignition temperature materials could set them on fire. But if we have an infant, a child, or even an adult touch one of these bulbs, you could have burns to the hands or the arms.
So not even just from a fire standpoint, but also from a burn injury standpoint as well.
Yeah, burn injury standpoint. These older bulbs and some of the mid-sized bulbs are hot enough to burn you. Think about that compared to the temperature of water. You don't really want your water over 100 degrees. These are in the 140s and up. These are dangerous temperatures.
Okay, so that's, talking about lighting. When we talk about plugging all these things in, we have to have a power source for all of our lights, whether or not we decide to use the larger bulbs or the smaller energy efficient LED bulbs. When we plug them into outlets, what are some other things that we need to be looking at to make sure that we're being as safe as we possibly can?
Well, each of the strands of lights or all of the equipment will come with a listed thing in the owner's manual telling you, for instance, how many light strands can be plugged in together. The old rule of thumb was no more than 3 could be piggybacked, but in some of these LED applications where they're drawing such less amps, refer to the manuals because you can actually plug more in together. Going back the whole way to the outlet, if you have a surge protector that's fused under your Christmas tree, that's okay, but make sure that the surge protector is plugged directly into the outlet. Same with our exterior lights, our blow-up type air inflated structures. These use a lot of power, so make sure they're plugged directly into an outlet and not into an extension cord, into an extension cord, into an extension cord.
And every piece of wiring or cords that we should be using should be UL listed, correct?
Should be UL listed, and it brings up a very good point. Just like the light strands, all of our extension cords, our surge protectors, they will also say indoor, outdoor. So if you need more power taps, don't think you can just go to the office desk and take one of those outside. It has to be listed for outside. So as you're plugging in those yard decorations, make sure you're using the right piece of equipment.
Okay. Now, when we look at all these other types of decorations, and this is just a tip of the iceberg for what type of Christmas and holiday decorations are out there. When we look at some of these artificial snows that folks have, be it the blanket kind or even the frosty snow product here, what are some things that folks need to be aware of when they use these products?
These products can be very dangerous if brought into the wrong environment. You don't want to have open flames around them. You don't want to have these hot light bulbs. So you want to take a look at exactly where you're going to use them. A lot of these products are made of plastic and therefore will melt or potentially burn. So take a look at where you want to use them in relation to dangerous objects or things that get extremely hot.
Now, you brought up candles and open flames. A lot of folks this time of year enjoy having candles as part of their decoration. In fact, October, November, December are the peak months of the year for candle-related fires. As folks are using candles and open flames in their homes this holiday season, what are some things that they need to do to make sure that they're being safe?
Well, candles, in regards to the old style with a wick in which you light, we want to make sure that they're in some type of votive or container so that they can't be easily tipped over. And if they are, there's something to keep that flame from touching other items. So we recommend plates, votives, candle holders to keep them upright. And you want to make sure that they're away from combustibles, not only beside it, but above it. You wouldn't want to place it under a branch.
So clearly the way we have these candles set up here is not the optimal setup.
That is not the optimal setting. Too close to the tree. They're also, the candle in the back that's on the plate could be easily tipped over into the snow.
Okay, but now the candle we have sort of here in the globe is a little bit safer.
That's the best case scenario. Yes, we know that it's in there and it's tip proof. You also want to check the wick and make sure that it's trimmed appropriate so the flame is a nice size but not too large.
But now we also have here some battery powered candles. Talk to us a little bit about those.
Well, we brought in some safer alternatives that basically have the look and appearance of a real candle, but they're very, very safe. Once again, bringing in the LED technology, we get the light that's battery powered, but we get very low temperatures, if any temperature difference, and these could be brought into the snow and or around areas with kids and animals, and if they get knocked over, they're not going to start a fire or cause a burn injury.
All right, so we've talked about Christmas trees, we've talked about lighting, we've talked about candles and other types of decorations. As we head into the holiday season, what are some of the key things that you want folks to remember as they set out to decorate their homes this holiday season?
Well, make sure you do it safely. We had talked a little bit about the decorations, but as you get out, if you're pulling out step ladders, extension ladders, putting icicle lights on your house, we want you to remain as safe as possible. And remember, these things can be dangerous, so have someone assist you with the ladder. Don't go too high if you don't feel comfortable, and make your yards look beautiful, but do it in a safe manner.
And if folks want more information about holiday safety, where are some places they could go to get those resources?
They can always go to the National Fire Protection Association's website. They can also go to the United States Fire Administration website. Both of those have very detailed, specific directions on holiday decorations. They also have chimney fire safety decorations, the use of listed electrical equipment. Both of those resources have numerous pages on holiday lighting and decorations.
Okay. Well, Tim, we appreciate you taking time to come and show us some of these decorations and how we can be safe this holiday season.
Thank you for having me today, Ron.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
Okay, when I give you the signal, you two cut left to the flag. I'm gonna cover you from that tree over there. Remember, don't go for the flag unless you know the coast is clear, okay?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you.
Pants, pants, pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long. Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
Every year in October, around the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire, fire departments around the country celebrate Fire Prevention Week. This year, the City of Raleigh held events all over town celebrating Fire Prevention Week, and we wanted to bring you some highlights from our activities.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Play your part in the circle of life. Take time to be a dad today. Visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
So, you're looking for help with your mortgage. Worried about foreclosure? We can help you keep your house. All we ask for in return is that you submit to our plans for galactic domination. Sign.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE.
It's time to join forces. Get energized and fuel up right.
It's coming.
Because starting today, every kid in America has a mission. Bring out the action hero in you. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
The high cost of home heating oil and utilities are causing many Americans to look for alternative ways to heat their homes. Lots of folks are using fireplaces, and those old space heaters are coming out of storage for many of us. And while these means of heating may be acceptable, they are causes for residential fires. If you're going to use these things, you should use them safely. If you're going to use a kerosene heater to heat your home, make sure that it's in good working order and that you only use the fuel recommended by the heater manufacturer. You should never fill the heater while it's operating or hot, and refueling should be done outdoors. If you're going to use a wood stove or fireplace, make sure that it's installed properly and that the chimney has been inspected annually to make sure that it's clean. Do not use flammable liquids to start a fire. And you should make sure that you keep a glass or metal screen in front of the fireplace to prevent embers or sparks from jumping out. And before you go to sleep, be sure the fireplace is out. Never close your damper with hot ashes in the fireplace. If you're going to use a furnace to heat your home, it's important that it's been inspected to ensure that it's in good working order. Leave furnace repairs to qualified specialists. Do not attempt to repair it yourself unless you are qualified. You should never use a range or an oven as a supplemental heating device. And if you're going to use an electric space heater, make sure that you don't overload the outlet and that it's not used in areas where there may be water present, such as bathrooms or kitchens. You should also unplug it or turn it off before you go to bed or leave the room. Finally, you should make sure that every level of your home has a working smoke alarm. Check it every month. You should plan and practice a home escape plan with your family. If you have more questions or would like more information, please contact us at fireprevention@raleighNC.gov.